What's up, y'all? My name is Aaron Mallory, aka Mr. Let Go, and today we're about to discuss a very, very important topic. Why do women worry so much? This can help men as well as women. Let's get it. Now, first, I'm not saying men don't worry, but we all know that women worry a little bit more, well, a lot more than the average man does. And I'm not saying all women are the same and all men are the same, but I'm sure we all in some type of way are on the same page about this, right? All right, for those of you who've been watching my videos for a while, you know I love to go back to our childhood, our upbringing, because that's usually when our programming actually starts. A woman worrying versus a man worrying usually comes from the way we were raised. As young people, we found ways to seek attention, because at the end of the day, as a child, we want attention. We want love. And as babies, you know, a baby can cry, and next thing you know, in a lot of cases, not all, they'll get the love that they need. They'll get the attention that they need. They'll get the protection that they need. But once a child gets older, the crying doesn't necessarily work anymore. Now, of course, little boys cry when they go out and get hurt or whatever, and little girls cry also. But as we get older, the crying becomes something that no longer works for us. Now, sometimes grown women cry, but men get to the point where they can't cry at all, right? So you can easily say that men get the attention and validation that they need from their peers by doing, but women get the attention and validation from their peers by feeling. In a weird way, when you complain about something or you point out something that's negative in your environment, it actually instantly causes the other person that you're talking to agree with you. Because the way our brains work, we naturally point out negative things in our environment. So the second you point something negative out in your environment to a total stranger, now that person can easily relate with you because their brains are already pointed it out themselves, right? So now you have this common interest. It's not a goal, but it's a common interest. This thing that is in our environment that is negative. Let me give you a perfect example of how different women seek out attention in order to make new friends and how men seek out attention in order to make new friends. Imagine a man being a part of a tribe and he gets kicked out of the tribe. And then imagine a woman being a part of a tribe and she gets kicked out of the tribe, right? Now, this man has to go out and seek a new tribe to be a part of, and this woman has to go out and seek a new tribe to be a part of. The man shows his value to this new tribe. Imagine he's in front of 4 tribe members. The way he proves himself to this new tribe is by his fighting skills. Is he able to protect the other tribe members and the women in the tribe? His ability to be virile. Can he make children? Third, is he able to hunt? But as far as women are concerned, it will mainly be about her ability to procreate, of course, make babies, her age, and her ability to get along with other women, whether it's younger women in the tribe, children, or each other. So her main ability to get along is very, very, very important. And how do women get along? They find commonalities. And like I said earlier, one of those commonalities that are always going to be there is negativity. It's always going to be a situation where you can easily complain about something to somebody, and that other person most likely would be able to go along with you in that thought process. See, when a woman worries or complains about her problem, she almost instantly gets compassion from other women. But when a man worries and complains around other men, he's not necessarily going to get compassion. He may get pushback, like, man up, stop complaining, like, go tell somebody else about that, right? Now, when a man complains, sometimes he does get what he needs, but in a lot of cases, you know what I mean. Now, even though men as well as women naturally point out the negativity in our environment, There's a big difference because men are solution driven. We see a problem, we look to find a solution to get rid of it. We want to eradicate the problem. And eradicating a problem, taking care of a problem, being solution driven, that is what gets us attention from other men. Because like I said, being a part of this tribe, the men are required in some type of way to eradicate problems, to bring solutions, to hunt so nobody is hungry, right? To protect so nobody is scared. So this right here is dopamine driven. The more I'm able to show my tribe that I'm able to eradicate problems, I get a dopamine rush. So when I'm out there hunting, my dopamine is at 100, right? Because once I get the kill and bring it back to the tribe, everybody loves me because I just eradicated hunger for that day. So while a man's neurological reward is dopamine, what is a woman's neurological reward? Oxytocin. See, a woman and a man, like I said, are to a certain degree the same. But when it comes to these neurological chemicals, we are totally different. A man's primary chemical is dopamine, like I said before. But a woman's primary neurological chemical is oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love chemical. It's the compassion chemical. It's the understanding chemical. It's the bonding chemical. See, so when women get together, they look for reasons to bond with each other. And the easiest way for women to bond with each other, just like with men, because like I said, your brain naturally seeks out a problem. Men seek the problem out and eradicate it, which gives us dopamine, but women seek out a problem and bond about the problem. They don't necessarily solve the problem because they're more about being and men are more about doing. So women will get together and empathize with each other and be compassionate with one another, and that makes them feel good, i.e. an oxytocin rush. So women thrive off of oxytocin and men thrive off of dopamine. Okay, I know a lot of you women are sitting here thinking like, okay, this is about worrying. How do I stop worrying? I don't want to worry anymore. I don't care about all this crap. How do I stop worrying? Here's the answer. If you have a problem with worrying, you think you worry too much and you think it's affecting your emotional well-being, it is, but it's not about simply not worrying anymore, because that's not going to happen, because men worry also. But you have to look at why you worry. You got to look at what's going on in your life at the time. See, like I said before, a lot of women have simply a habit of worrying. It's like smoking cigarettes. It's a habit. You have to learn to stop it because, like I said, you are most likely worrying and complaining because it gets you the compassion, the love, the attention from other women. And it's your way of getting your oxytocin rush. And it's become something that you even do when you're not even around other women, when you're not even around men. So if you want to stop worrying, the first thing that is important for you to do is pay attention to what you're getting out of the worrying. And a lot of you may say, I'm not getting anything out of it, but you may be. See, when you complain about things to your friends, how do your friends respond as a woman? Do you get more empathy from them? Do you get more compassion from your friends? This could be one of the reasons why you tend to worry. You may think it's all these different things, but it may have a lot to do with your addiction to empathy. I'll say that again. Your addiction to empathy, which is oxytocin, could be the reason why you have this habit of worrying. Let me ask you a question. Do you do more than worry? Do you catastrophize? Meaning you make small things into bigger things. You look at a breakup as the end of the world. Do you look at the smallest thing that happens in your life, no matter what it is, as something huge and you get really upset about it. That is simply catastrophizing. And like I said, the reason why you may be catastrophizing, looking at something small and making it into something bigger, because it gets you an oxytocin rush. Whenever you tell somebody something, you make it into something bigger, because the bigger you make it into, the more you get your fix. So what I'm saying to you is your worrying is almost your own way of doing your own drug, because dopamine is simply your own neurological drug. Oxytocin is your own neurological drug. See, there are 4 particular, because there's more, neurological drugs that we utilize to make ourselves feel good. You got endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. So these things we actually excite in our brains, and it makes us feel good. When you go to the gym, you get a rush of endorphins when you're working out really hard. When you complain about something and worry and somebody gives you empathy, you get oxytocin. When you turn around and do something that nobody else can do and you get rewarded for it, and everybody looks at you like you're the best person in the environment, the room, and you get an award for being the best whatever, that is serotonin. And lastly, when you accomplish something or eradicate a problem, you get dopamine. So the next time you worry, the first thing I want you to think is, am I catastrophizing this? And then it's important for you to look at yourself and say, why am I catastrophizing this? Nobody's even around. Because you can get to the point where you make things so bad for yourself, it promotes you to call somebody. It promotes you to talk about it at work. See, if your problem isn't really that bad, it's not necessarily worth talking about, right? See, now that we got the understanding of we are doing things in order to get a rush of oxytocin by complaining, we catastrophize the problem in order to get more oxytocin. Because the bigger your problem is, because you're catastrophizing it, the more compassion you get, the more attention you get, the more empathy you get, which means the bigger the oxytocin rush. Now, to a certain degree, men and women do this to themselves in order to get bigger dopamine rushes and bigger oxytocin rushes. See, when a man explains a conquest or a way that he eradicated a problem, he's going to brag about it. He brags about a woman that he slept with or he dated or whatever. He's going to add a little extra to it. He's going to tell the story in a vivid type of way to make the guys think like, ooh, what? What happened next? What happened next? And the bigger he makes this eradication of a problem or this conquest, the more dopamine he's going to get from his friends. But with a woman, it's kind of like the opposite. She makes her problem bigger. She catastrophizes the problem in order to make the women around her empathize exponentially. Have you ever noticed that women literally always talk in stories? If you ask a woman what happened in her day, she's going to make it into a story form instead of, I went to the store and I got in my car and I got into a car accident and I went to the hospital and I went home. No, she's going to make it into this Netflix series story as she talks about this accident she was in. Why? Because the more interesting she makes the story, the more empathy she gets. So I want you to pay attention to what you're doing on a normal basis. Just take a second. But I want you to look at how often you tell stories. You know, you ask a woman something, she's going to go all over the world. Well, let me give you some background first. She'll say stuff like that. Well, let me tell you how it started, because she has to set you up for her own oxytocin rush. And when someone asks you what's actually wrong, This is your actual moment. And sometimes, in a lot of situations, you actually don't want the problem solved. You just want to talk about the problem. Because here's the thing, if you actually solve the problem, I know women have been around men at some point and the man has said, all right, how about you do A, B, C, and D and is eradicated? And the first thing a woman may say, why are you always trying to solve a problem? Can you just listen? Can you just allow me to vent? The reason why you want to vent instead of getting the problem solved is because when there's no problem, there's no oxytocin rush. So with this understanding, without even knowing it, this subconscious understanding that if your problem actually gets solved, somehow you feel empty because the problem is gone. There's no empathy because us men, we're not necessarily going to empathize with you. We're just going to eradicate the problem because we want our dopamine rush. So sometimes when you're with a man and you don't allow the man to solve your problem, he does not get what he wants. He does not get his dopamine rush. And you do not get your oxytocin rush either, because he's not necessarily going to empathize with you like a woman would, because you both are trying to get high off of your own neurological chemicals. And this is the reason why a lot of men and women find themselves arguing all the time. And the woman says, you don't understand me. And the guy is like, I don't understand her, because you both are getting frustrated because neither one of you are allowing the other person to give you what you need in order to get high off of this particular problem. He wants to eradicate the problem so he can feel good. You want the man to empathize with you so you can feel good. And neither one of you are doing this thing for one another at all. So you both are frustrated and you both are like, oh my God, he doesn't understand me. And he's like, oh my God, she doesn't understand me. So the answer to this is simple. Stop catastrophizing everything. Stop doing all of this storytelling. Your day was not as exciting as you're making it, or your day was not as terrible as you're making it. You're using this story, this situation, this problem in order to get either a dopamine rush or an oxytocin rush. And you're annoying the crap out of the person that you're telling the story to, because they know you enough to know that you're adding all of this extra stuff to the story. And in the process, you're potentially annoying the person that you're talking to because you don't have to make it into this freaking story. So ask yourself, am I doing these things in order to seek out attention, male or female? And this is for men as well as women, because I don't want the women thinking I'm picking on them, because like I said, men do the same things. And if you are, what does this mean? It means that to a certain degree, you may be trying to suck up all of the attention in the room. So the next time you catastrophize a problem, it may mean that in the back of your mind, you're a little selfish and you're trying to make your problem bigger than it is in order to get your own oxytocin rush without even knowing it. If this video helped, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment, because I would love to hear what you think about this. Am I totally wrong, or do you agree? Leave a comment. Y'all have a wonderful day.